Hi everyone, I've been wanting to share this great phrase which I dug out after transcribing it a load of years ago. I thought it would be a good one to look at in order to discuss the ability of using simple counterpoint concepts within your improvised phrases when soloing. This is a phrase I transcribed from Bireli and it's one from his live performance of the song Isn't She Lovely by Stevie Wonder. I've linked it below so you can check it out because the whole performance is incredible. The band sound great and Bireli's comping and solo lines are just out of this world. I mentioned in a previous post that I just love how interesting his playing is and how he's not afraid to take risks, which he seems to always pull off. He just manages to showcase such a huge variety of inspiration and styles within his phrases and has an ability to execute these classic bebop ideas but in a very modern way. Now, this song, Isn't She Lovely, is a favourite among musicians to jam over because it's got sophisticated chord changes that imply tension and resolution movement to the harmony. That paired with the fact that it's a pretty simple form makes it a great canvas to develop interesting phrases over, so it's generally just a really fun tune to solo on. So I've shared a transcription for the whole of the first form of Bireli solo. I really recommend you check it out because it's full of different techniques and wonderful phrasing. I've also transcribed the voicings which he plays in the intro because they're just gorgeous and the voice leading is really nice. But the phrase we're looking at today is the unison run which happens at the end of every form, this one. All this is an ascending major pentatonic scale which starts from the 5th of the key, but Bireli actually has a lot of fun with this moment as he does something slightly different each time while still implying the same sort of melodic and rhythmic theme. Here's what he plays at the end of the first form of his solo. So, very cool. It's got the same rhythmic and melodic shape as the original theme, but the note choices are different and he uses a very subtle bit of counterpoint in the form of contrary motion within the phrase. So let's break it down. The phrase still starts on the 5th, but instead of going up the G major pentatonic scale, it initially goes up the actual G major scale from the 5th to the root, and therefore it includes the 7th. Now, because we have the 7th degree of the scale, which leads to the root, this is where Bireli makes use of the tritone interval found within the major scale to add a brief moment of contrary motion and implied harmony to the line. As he plays the 7th, F sharp, he adds the 4th, which is C, below it. The 7th leads up a semitone to the root note G, while the 4th wants to move down a semitone to the 3rd, which is B. This leaves us with a minor 6th interval between these two notes, and they are both chord tones from the chord G. By adding this simple contrary motion to the scale, it emphasizes the dominant tonic tension and resolution that is built into the diatonic major scale. This is because the 7th and the 4th of G is really functioning as the 3rd and the flat 7th of a D7 chord. D7 is our dominant 5 chord tension which wants to resolve to the tonic G major. This just adds a really kind of sophisticated harmonic approach and cadence to the phrase, even though so far all he's basically done is gone up the scale. So, or. To finish the line, he just plays up the chord tones of a G major, but with some chromatic approaches. So he approaches the 3rd from a semitone below, he then plays the 5th, and then the root, and then he does another chromatic approach into the 3rd again, but this time up an octave. He harmonizes both the thirds with another note from the triad. So for the first one, he plays the root below the 3rd. And then finally for the 3rd on top, an octave higher, he harmonizes that with a 5th below it. Now for both of these harmony notes, they also follow the same melodic shape of getting approached from a semitone below. So this is nice, and even though it isn't more contrary-motion, it still adds to the line by making it closer to a phrase that has two voices. So the whole phrase, but slowly. Just like the original, this phrase starts after beat 2 on the second division of a triplet, and this makes you come out onto beat 1 of the next bar. Okay, so now that we've learned this phrase and the concepts behind it, let's get back to this idea of using contrary motion starting from 2 notes a tritone away to imply cadence-based harmony. This is really something you can do anytime you hit the major 7th degree of a scale. So in C major. And remembering that we can instead choose to visualize this 7th degree as the major third of the dominant 5 chord, as this allows us to easily apply this sound to secondary dominants that resolve to either of the diatonic major and minor chords that are found within the scale. And we can also experiment with other places in the scale where we find tritones, especially within other dominant scale options or cadences. For example, between the flat 9 and 5th of a dominant. So G7, flat 9 resolving to C. We can also visualize this as the flat 3rd and the 6th of a 4 minor cadence. So F minor 6 resolving to C. So even just taking a really common phrase like that, we can make it that little bit more interesting by adding the contrary motion and effectively implying harmony. We could do similar stuff on other bluesy styled endings as well. So that idea right there, that could be. So thanks for watching this little mini lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. I recommend checking out the written transcription I put together, and this should hopefully just give you some cool ideas to help spice up your playing. You can also check out other posts I've done on Patreon, as I've created a bunch of material relating to contrary motion practice and musical ideas. Enjoy, and I'll see you soon.